Good old coffee. All right, guys, welcome back to Survival Living here. So I want to discuss some topics with you as far as having preps in your home, especially if you have to shelter in place. Now, if you're like me, you'd like to have everything all in one location. But from my life experience, from house fires and other bad decisions in my life, it's not always wise to have everything all in one spot. You need to spread things out. But let's talk immediate about your home, your apartment complex. Because I got a lot of people asking about apartment complexes too. Do you have enough supplies to shelter in place? And for how long? That is actually a huge thing about prepping. Everything from a possible, make sure I say that, nuclear attack, and you're dealing with fallout, you're going to need to shelter in place. Chemical fires, we've seen plenty of that in the past couple of years where towns have been told to shelter in place. Civil unrest, shelter in place because you can't get out. Do you have enough supplies to sustain you? Now, with most of these scenarios, some water systems, septic, stuff like that, it's going to be working. Power will be working. Some scenarios, it won't. So let's go ahead and take a look at the worst case scenarios that things are shut off. Your utilities are shut off. Do you have enough water stockpiled in your home? Now, myself, we have up to 2 weeks supply of water. That takes a lot of room. A lot of room. When I was doing my outdoor camp out videos, my outdoor survival videos, I was going through roughly 5 gallons a day. And mind you, this is summertime down here in Florida, and I'm exposed to the environment. I have nothing over my head, okay, except for a tarp. It got hot really, really quick. So take that in consideration. The 1 gallon a day recommendation is not enough. I've been doing outdoor survival for a very long time. I've been prepping for a very long time. A gallon a day is designed to keep your organs moving, your internal organs. That's what a gallon a day. It will keep you alive. Definitely will. Now, when it comes to washing your body, hygiene, washing dishes, cooking food, and eating food. Yeah, your body requires water to break down food when you're eating. Your water intake just went up a lot more. 1 gallon a day is not enough. Now, people say 3 days worth of water stored in your house. That is not enough. It's not. And that's per person. A 2-week supply of water takes a lot of room. All right. And we've done videos in the past showing everything from 2-liter soda bottles filled up to milk jugs. Not really milk jugs, the gallon jugs. And the biggest comments I see, those things will eventually start leaking. They are crap. They're not worth stockpiling up. Don't listen to people like this. All right. When you rotate your stock as a prepper, we rotate. We're not hoarders. We rotate our food and supplies out all the time. Nothing ever expires because we're always rotating. You always check on your water and flushing your water systems. We flush our water systems every 4 months. During that 4 months, we're looking at our containers for our water, everything to make sure that they are still in top condition. Now, we recently moved away from our gallon jugs and our 2-liter soda bottles. Reason being is we found a better system to stack. This is a water cube. It stacks. You can stack multiples on top of each other. It's a water brick. That right there makes our stacking much more easier. Now, those water bricks are not cheap. That particular one comes from our affiliates there at Fort Patriots. We went ahead and bought stock in those products because we like them, we use them, we show you what we use. You don't have to purchase through our links. You don't have to purchase the products we show. There are substitutes out there that have that. I'm just showing you what we use. Those things work really well. They don't tip over. You don't have to worry about them falling over and start leaking. You don't have to worry about the plastic leaking. It's an option for you. But for years, I've used 1-gallon jugs and 2-liter soda bottles. Done it for years. Just having to rotate it out. We still have to rotate that water out as well. So having water stockpiled up is extremely important, because if your water is turned off in an event and you cannot leave your home, and the reason I'm doing this video because about 70% of my viewers here say they will never leave their home. How much water do you have stocked up in your home? Next up, I'm going to talk about power. Behind me is a solar grid. Also behind me back there is a solar generator. We've done videos on our gasoline generator. We have ways of producing power. Now, if you're in an apartment complex, this is going to be an issue for you, because they're going to be pretty ticked off you start trying to put solar panels on the roof of your apartment complex. All right. Solar generators work very well. You can take them out. You can actually just take the solar panel out, set it up, and charge up your solar system. Of course, during an event, you're gonna have to keep an eye on it, because people will steal your stuff. I've had them do it when I was, I believe it was Hurricane Irma. I was in Orlando, Florida. Power got knocked out. I was outside with my solar panels charging up our cell phones. I did not leave it, because everybody, when they saw it, they started eyeballing, started walking around, asking questions. Yeah, you don't leave your stuff unattended. That's common sense. But now this is a solar lantern. This is from Amazon. My wife bought one because she bought me one. I bought one a while back, and then I lost it at a campsite, forgot to pack it, and I left. It is a hand crank. You can use batteries, and it also has a solar panel on top. I take this on my camping trips a lot, just to light up the area. This thing here works really well. We actually got one of these for my mother-in-law with the kit that we built her, and then my wife went and bought me one to replace the one that I lost. Having alternative lighting. Candles. Candles work good, but candles will eventually extinguish, you'll eventually run through your stocks. So, alternative lighting, that is solar. It can charge it. You can charge it up with a solar generator from your solar power. You can charge it up that way. You can just plug it in and charge it. You have multiple ways of charging. Next up, how much food do you have? This is canned goods. This is a product from 4 Patriots here. Now there's some 4 Patriot products up there. That's long-term food storage. The canned goods that they came out with last up to 15 years if stored correctly. We have done so many videos on going to Walmart, stockpiling canned goods, dry goods. This is one of our product there, large lima beans. We just recently did a video. Look at how nice that sucked down. You can actually see the beans itself. And basically I show you how to get the air out, put the O2 absorber in, and seal it, and then you get that nice brick effect for your Mylar. That Mylar is Wallaby Mylar. We are affiliated with them. I always tell people if we're affiliated with somebody, if you don't want to use products that we use, I've always said, use somebody else. Find you a good quality product and use them. Having food. Again, this is dry goods. This is lima beans. This stuff's going to last a very long time. I know for a fact over 10 years. They might actually last longer than that, but I know they'll last over 10 years. Stored correctly. Going to the store, getting canned goods, dry goods, pastas, things so you can bake your own food. It's extremely important. But how much do you have in your house if you have to shelter in place? There's a lot of people here that will tell me they have everything in their home. I'm glad you have stocks, but I cannot stress that enough. Do not have everything in your home. We don't have everything in our home. I've been prepping for a very long time, and I've got a lot of preps. The reason I don't, number one, was that house fire. When that happened, I lost everything in the house. Everything. Civil unrest. I said that you are being overran. I know the comment I'm going to read is, I will die within my home. That's your choice. Me, I try to prolong the life of my family as much as possible. In other words, if I have to boogie out, I'll boogie out. But let's say that it is a shelter in place. How much food do you have? There's so many reasons to bug out. Natural disasters, some impending force coming at you, But either way, we're keeping on track of staying indoors. How much food do you have? How much water do you have? Do you have enough to sustain your life for multiple weeks? I'm not talking about that 3-day BS that's been pushed by the government. 3 days, that's just prolonging your death. That's it. 3 days is not enough in a major event and you're sheltering in place. You need to have a minimum of 2 weeks. And then after that 2 weeks, you better have a bug out plan on where the hell you're going. Next up, this is 1 pound propane. We buy a lot of this because we use it on our grill that we actually use here in our home. Do you have ways of cooking up food? If they turn off your utilities or your utility structures damaged in your area, especially people that's living in the cities, do you have the availability to boil water, cook food? You know, if you have all these dried beans, do you have the availability to cook it? I'm gonna tell you this much: it takes a lot of power, a lot of gas to cook dried beans. All right, it does. It's one of the reasons we have solar. All right, my solar can run all of our electrical cooking equipment. It can run crock pots, no issues at all. We built the banks up large enough. And for the must be nice, it took years of accomplishment. Took years of doing this. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can find this video here. I hope I found it. This was when I first started playing around with solar. Car batteries, jerry rigging wiring up together. I think I had a solar panel from Harbor Freight. Yeah. And then the more I educated myself on it, the more I continued to improve on it. And then we built a much larger system. This particular system we've had for a couple years now, and we've been living off grid technically with it. This is our power supply. Now we've done some altercations since we moved in here, added fuse boxes, more EMP shield protection, more charge controllers, more inverters, because we're building a bigger system. It takes time, but it can happen. Having the way of powering up things is very important. It's not just turning on your lights, even though lights definitely keeps most of the bad guys at bay. But if everybody else doesn't have power and you're the only one with lights, people will come knocking on your door. Yeah. We have a system where I can throw a switch and floodlight the entire yard, blinding people from our location. Sure, they know where we are, but I'm also blinding the crap out of them, and I can swack every single one of them because they're being blinded by spotlights. You can't see me, I can see them. But that's just me. It's up to you on that. But have an alternative power to power up a coffee pot, to power up our reverse osmosis system so we can actually have clean drinkable water, powering up a crock pot so we can cook food. This is very important. Even though you have food and supplies, do you have a way of cooking it? And do you have a way of cooking it for up to 2 weeks? Now, I have done so many videos on precious metals. All right, that's an ounce of silver. I have shown the dollar bills. That's a $5. That's where I grabbed out of my wallet. There's not much in my wallet. This and a whole bunch of ones. Precious metals should be one of the last things you work on as a prepper, especially if you're new to prepping. Forget about this right now. You need to focus on this. You need to focus on water filtration. This is what you need to focus on before you ever get into precious metals. Precious metals does have its place in prepping. It is a way of transferring wealth. It is also giving you purchasing power when the dollar collapses. All right, just because the dollar collapse does not mean it's the end of the United States and we're all dying and burning and it's Mad Max. The reason I say this is because I see the comments all the time. I want everybody to look and do a little research on Venezuela. When Venezuela's dollar collapsed, hyperinflation hit, they were using gold and silver to purchase haircuts, meals, pay rent, because this was worthless. People valued this. And commerce was still open. If they were taking this, it was trash bag size full of dollar bills when they were breaking off pieces to pay for things. The country's still there. Commerce was still there. Just the dollar was not worth squat. That's why we stocked that up. People say, well, I won't trade you my beans and blah, blah, blah for 1 ounce of silver. That's good, because I'm not trading with you. Commerce was still up. In other words, the stores were still open, but they weren't taking cash. They were taking other things. And they weren't taking beans or canned goods. The country was still running. Just their dollar was worth shit. People don't seem to understand that. They get stuck in their damn head. Their way is the right way. Then people like me come along that actually live it and try to teach. They don't want to hear that because I bust the reality bubble. Sucks for you. If you want to live in a fantasy world, all I can do is say, I told you, I try to help, best of luck to you. So anyway, guys, I want to encourage you to continue to prep. This whole thing with Russia, hey, don't know. I smell something fishy going on. I don't trust it. If a major conflict happens out in the open, and this is a major conflict, I don't care what people keep saying, this is a major conflict. The American dollar is under attack due to the BRICS. Our economy is under attack. We have all this escalation, military equipment and drills and wartime events happening. When our supply chain gets broken because of this, how much food, how much water, how much supplies do you have access to? Again, I recommend at minimum 2 weeks supply, but honestly, I say stock up more. Do I keep 2 weeks supply in my home? I carry a lot more in my home. Our water system, the majority of our water system is outdoors. Most of it is rain barrels. We keep 2 weeks supply indoors. We have rain barrels. We have 5-gallon buckets filled up. Those are for flushing for our toilet system. So we actually have a toilet that works. We have a swimming pool that's 800 gallons that could be contaminated. We have filtration system for that. All right. So we're pushing 1,000 gallons, maybe a little more, of water. I have a stream at the base of the backyard. I have access to that. I've got a bayou about a mile from my location. I have access to that. Having supplies on hand, knowing your terrain, where you're going to go get stuff when things happen, is very important. All right, guys, keep on prepping. I'll speak to you later.